Good morning, everybody. Here we are for another Sunday morning. Right, what did I just do? I just did one thing that's suddenly thought, oh yeah. So my iPad is running out of battery, so the very last thing I did before hitting stream, and you should never do something like this before you actually start something, but the very last thing I did was like plugged in my iPad to try and charge it off the Mac while I'm talking. But it's always a disastrous, not disastrous, it's not always. It can sometimes be a disastrous thing to change something right at the very last minute, but everything seems stable, although I haven't actually checked on YouTube first. So let's do that. Let's see if am I here? Well, I got the notification saying I'm here. Allow accessory to connect. Yeah, might as well. That's where everything kind of falls apart. Right, there we go. Trust this computer. Yes, I trust this computer. But it's not actually opening up my... So that's the problem. So when you get things that, when you go through notifications, then something comes in and says whatever, it stops the notifications. Having designed my own app, I know the troubles that this causes. It's funny, my homepage on my iPad is filled with, currently right now, just clips of Van Halen. Don't know why, obviously, at one point. Or it's people doing the action figure thing for ChatGPT. Anyway, so I've got to try and find me. RowAlong, which is this live? There we go. That's the one. Okay. Oh, there's a man looking at his computer. Okay. that makes sense. Whee. All right, cool. That's all right. There's only 4 of you whose time I am wasting with this right now, so that's good to know. Don't worry, for the 4 people that are watching, more people will come. I tend to get, I don't know, I think probably around about 30, 40 people tend to tune in. It's not essential viewing, it must be said, for people on a Sunday morning, or depends what time zone you're in. But yeah, it's not it's not like people are like, oh, we have to tune in and see what this guy has to say. But if you want to do some exercise regularly on a Sunday, then I think this is a good thing to do. Admittedly, now that I've started to do the flip-flop thing between doing it 1 week at 9 o'clock in the morning, 1 week at 5 o'clock in the evening, it's not quite got the structure that it used to. But I think sometimes it's better to spread yourself a little bit thinner to give more people the chance, because there's people all around the world who want the chance of doing this. Which actually, I didn't follow. Did I follow up with Max about doing the Thursday evenings? I don't think I probably did. But there's hey, we've got half an hour together. In fact, actually, as being most of my tech is set up, we've actually got like 42 minutes right now to be talking about about stuff. So there's John Edge. Hey, John. Morning, everybody. Is going to be fasted and strapless for me today. Good job. Just remember, for the point of the strapless rowing is to really kind of engage your core at the back, to soak up whatever momentum is sending you backwards off the machine anyway. But also to make sure that as you've got that core engaged, that's what you then use to power yourself up to get into that good posture and your forward tilt as you come into the front of the machine again. So remember, as you finish, you get into that tilt, and then once you're in this tilt, nothing changes as you come into the front, and then you push, and then you swing. And it's one of the he's already talking about technique, you grief. It's one of the things I find hardest to do myself. Don't worry, I'm not casting judgment on people, but one of the hardest things to try and get across to people, especially in this virtual world, okay, and this kind of green screen YouTube one-way communication thing, the hardest part to really get across to people, well, actually, no, this one of the hardest parts, is this idea of the forwards tilt, and then locking in this position before you slide, and then holding that position as you drive, and then swinging. Because what you tend to get is loads of people will go, they'll finish a stroke, and then they'll kind of slide forwards, and then they'll tilt forwards at the same time. Everything will then finish at the front, and then everything kind of just like rebounds out from the front, rather than it being a powerful connection of the feet up through the back and into the arms, and whoa. And I've come to, like, over the past like kind of year maybe, so it's kind of like a relatively recent rant I've started having. I've always talked about posture. I've always talked about how the importance of having a good posture, but it's only really been over the past wee while that I've properly kind of started to kind of hammer this idea of locking in your position and then sliding and like really kind of making sure that you're in that position. Because when you get in this position and you're doing, I'm about to shut up, door, and you're locked in, and you really concentrate on just locking in, that's how you stop things like the shoulders coming up at the front or the handle going down and the scoop up and whatever. So that's why it's important. And so that's what you should be focusing on with your strapless rowing. He's like, I'm never typing a message again. David Palos, buenos dias. Buenos dias a todos. I know what that means. Buenos dias, what is that? So is a todos then like an all-encompassing, because I know todo el mundo is around the world, isn't it? Or all around the world. Is that right? Maybe not. But yeah, so I'm guessing from this, buenos dias a todos is like buenos dias everybody. Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. I do, yeah. I finished my river rowing training. Well done. Now it's time for indoor rowing. Vamos, amigos. Oh, I do like Spanish. I think it's one of the Spanish and Italian. Here's a confession to make. Years ago, I worked with a producer. You can tell I'm pretty much set up. Well, I've not connected anything yet. I'll do that in a sec. I'll tell my little story first. Years ago, I worked with a producer, Rocio Cano, Italian. Like she was English but Italian, so grew up in Italy and whatever. And she took a phone call with someone one day. I think it was her mum. And she was talking to her in Italian, and I was just sitting there listening to her. And I mean, happily married and whatever at the time, like me, happily married and whatever at the time. But if I was single and whatever, I would have just fallen in love with that woman at that point. Just there's something just about the Spanish and the Italian, just the way, there's something about I don't know, there's something about the kind of lilt and flow of the languages that I don't really find the same in like German or French or Scottish. Oh, somebody just gave me super thanks. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, can I get the message down? Because it was like Cax someone. Oh, no, well, it disappeared if I did that. Who was it? Oh, Cax1725 just gave me super thanks. Oh, it always does mean a lot to me when people, oh, I've just reset myself. Right, hang on, I'm going to connect my machine first before I go back into that, because knowing me, I'm going to run out of time. It does mean like a lot to me when people actually do like do the patron thing or like they're like just a super thanks, just they reach into the pocket and get it. Because I don't, like, apart from like obviously the irony of having this conversation, see, it still sees my Averon bike is turned off, so why does it see it? Obviously I'm talking about it right now, so you could say, this is him fishing for money, but it's not. I don't do this. I mean, obviously it would be lovely to make money from this and to stop my day job and whatever, but I just don't see that ever happening. So so I don't really push for it. Oh, my mouse is on screen again. Oh. Right, okay, so I'm connected to that, and then, yeah, so he's bouncing through for conversations. You know, I was sitting here at 16 minutes to thinking, right, I'm all kind of set up. Right, yeah. I'm all set up. What am I going to talk about for 16 minutes? And I'm just talking away rubbish. Still got 7 minutes worth of rubbish to come as well. Right, okay. You can connect to my microphone. I'll try and find me. So I can, because the only reason I like to see me on the iPad, there we go, is when people leave me messages. Because I think it's quite nice. There's a couple more, right. Let's go. Okay, right, so where are we? Right, so this should, I'm thinking it's going to say 36 minutes to go at the top when I do this, if my theory's right about the timer. There we go, yeah. But the thing is that then it doesn't count down. So the timer thing at the top that says 30, that's obviously like 5 minutes 39 to go when I entered this screen. So that's why it's saying 35, 39 at the top, which then resets to 30 when we start. But it's a little bit of a glitch. Again, having designed my own app, I know how annoying this kind of stuff can be. How many have we got? 60 people today, that's all right for a Sunday morning when the sun's out. Well, for some. Right, where are we for, yay, Nick Fox. Hey, Foxy. Good morning, everybody. Tobias, good morning to you all, or to all of you. Good morning. And then CBDB's here. Hello, good morning. For once, I'm not late. Rolling along with YouTube Live as usual. Have you tried CBDBDB? Have you tried the actual Exit app? Can you get it running on your machine and stuff? Just remember, there's a 14-day trial if you haven't tried it, and it's a great app. It's worth it. Yeah, and then I think if you use code RA25, you get 10% off. There we go. Look at me, I'm like a little salesman today. Hey, I'll start talking about, I've mentioned my app twice, so I mean, that's more than I did last week. And then there's my book. Anyway, right. We're going to have to eventually, at one point, we might have to play what's the cornet of whatever, because I think this is the end of my Raiders Cup. The lid, nothing wrong with the cup. The cup's perfect, but the lid's bust. Hang on, let's have a quick drink. I've had this since 2022. Is that where the first time I went to Vegas? Yes, had a 3-month sub. Good. Yeah, I've had this since 2022. When I first went to Vegas, when I went to scatter my mum's ashes, and picked up this cup because it can fit a lot of fluid in it. So basically, I make one coffee and top it up with water, just so that it's like fluid rather than, because otherwise I was drinking like 10 cups of coffee a day, just from a fluid point of view, not from because I wanted that much coffee. So this is the perfect cup. But unfortunately, the lid's bust. And so it spills all over me when I have a drink if I'm not careful about how I drink it. And then I was in Vegas. You've probably heard me talking about being in Vegas in February. Yeah, January, February. And I went back to the same shop that sold the cup, and I thought, yeah, I'll get myself a new one. And when I bought it 3 years ago, here's a rant about inflation and stuff. When I bought it back in 2022, it cost me $29.99 plus tax. When I went to the shop this time, so that's 3 years later, went to buy the same cup, $49.99 plus tax. So I didn't buy it. I was tempted to just take a lid off and like go running out the shop, but security in America have guns, so you don't do that. I can't go get this right. Yeah, so if you see me suddenly recoil in terror, it's because it spilled all down me. I'm sure I could find a similar cup somewhere online or whatever that I could buy and replace the lid, but yeah, it may be the end of my Raiders Cup for a while. Right, okay, so where are we? We have 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go. So hopefully you've been warming up while you've been listening to my rantings, the rantings of a fool on a Sunday morning. Remember, so I told you there's 28 people turned up now. We'll get even more. Remember, there is a slight delay. There's like a 3-second delay between what X's doing and what YouTube's doing. I know I'm pointing this way, which means nothing to you, but hopefully it's, yeah. So if you are rowing on Xer and watching and listening to me on YouTube, make sure to look at your Xer app and not listen to me when it comes to starting to go. Otherwise, you'll be 3 seconds late. Okay. Now, unlike John Edge, I am actually going to strap in today because you can possibly you can hear it in my voice, but I have a stinking cold. I picked up when I was in Belgium. Not only did I kind of tire myself out and stuff, but I think possibly because I was so worn out. Look at all the amount of people that are in RowAlong kit. Oh, look at him go. Yeah, I also came back with a stinking cold. So last Sunday I did the Xer row when I got back. Then on the Monday I tried to have a row to start because I'd launched the 10K plan, and the plan is that I was doing it with everybody else. Got 20 minutes into that row and was just ruined. I was kind of like just lying on the floor going, right, I really shouldn't be rowing. So I haven't rowed properly since last week, which means that this is going to be a very gentle row for me, okay? Because I'm still, don't know if you could, like I said, don't know if you could hear, but still, I'm still absolutely choked with this. So I am here for company more than performance today, let's say. But yeah, so we have 30 as he chokes on his own face. Less than 30 seconds to go. One last swig of ambition. And somebody came and went on the live chat as well. Oh, but this guy's talking rubbish. Okay, right. So 10 seconds to go for me. Remember, YouTube's different. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, so I'm, like I say, taking it easy, but also I haven't done, as you saw, for the past 15 minutes, I've just been sitting here talking to you. So I haven't done any kind of warm-up. So I'm definitely using the start of this to warm up. So it seems to be, well, I'm at like 2:10 pace. We've got a little bunch here. I think eventually they'll all take off into the distance. I don't know if I miss having the name tags up. I think I do actually. I might put them back up. Somebody remind me to put the name tags back up. Because I kind of miss knowing who I'm side by side with. So usually when people on the, oh hang on, my foot plates come down. I wondered why my leg was sore. One of my foot plates had dropped. Yeah, when people post on my RowAlong Facebook group, hey, it's Easter Bunny. I wonder if that's Andrew Fielden. No, it's not. He's selling his carrot. Anyway, sorry. Third time on this part of the conversation. When people post and say that they've got, like they've got a cold or something, I'm always like their dad, or well, mum probably. They're like, oh, take it easy. Don't do anything silly. Don't drive it into your chest. And so that's why I'm listening to my own advice today and taking it very gently. Because having done absolutely no exercise for a week, I don't want to do anything shocking to my lungs, but also I've not done any exercise for a week, so my body's not exactly in a position to put in loads of power and then feel good afterwards. Daily challenge complete. 500 meters. Woohoo! It's funny though. I mean, I'll talk about me to kind of widen this out to everybody, but it has been since like November. The last time I felt I was strong, powerful and performing well was the high rocks that I did with Martin when we were dressed as Wolverine and Deadpool. Ever since then, combination of kind of injury and illness and just at some points desire have meant I've just not been firing on all cylinders. And every time, well, and on the occasion I'm like, right, here we go. I'm going to tighten everything up, start training nice and hard again. Something gets in the way, be it more injury, picking up a cold. No sprints for me today, by the way, if you hadn't already gathered that. Or just banal things like work, or like the operation I had and stuff. So anyway, it's easy to let this kind of thing derail you entirely. And I am definitely, I've got a couple of wheels hanging off the rail right now. Not entirely derailed, but I'm getting there, just because I've not been able to train and stuff. So, and so what I'm saying is that if you're in a similar position, say you're just coming back to fitness after a while away, or maybe you're trying to build up, and you've picked up a cold or something, it doesn't mean it's the end. It just means you have a new day one. And that's how I see it. So I'm hoping that tomorrow will be my new day one. There's just something about, I don't know about you, but for me anyway, It's always easier to start something on a Monday. And so I'm hoping that this little drop in the ocean in terms of exercise, this wee half-hour row, will just kind of prime me ready for tomorrow to be day one, where I can reset and reboot every kind of element of my I was about to say sporting career, but obviously sporting existence, let's say, because I've not been training, I've not been eating well, or I have been eating well. And I've just not really had the fire and dedication needed to be performing. And I mean, listen, if you've been hanging around on this, watching these live rows for the past month or so, you'll know I'm getting a bit of a broken record about this. But this is my point, is that every time since, let's say, when was I able to train again? Like mid-March. So it's been, what, 4 weeks? And pretty much every week I've said, right, this is it. Tomorrow's a dangerous word. Which is why I prefer setting it for Monday. Because Monday comes. Tomorrow never comes. But like I say, the important part is that even if on Monday, tomorrow, something does get in the way, maybe it's work, I'm at the review stage of the episode of This Farming Life I'm editing right now, and that either means that we are closing in on the finish of the edit, or, as being this is episode 1 of the next series, there's always a lot of input given on episode 1 because it's new farms and often new people involved, as in like on this side of it. Obviously new farms means new people. So it can mean that the review process is quite involved. So there's a chance that I'm just going to be in meetings all day tomorrow, and I might not get a chance to go for a run or a row. In which case, Tuesday becomes day one. And that's just what I'm saying, is that if something gets in the way of anything you're trying to do, whether it's coming back, whether it's maybe you have started doing a 2K plan or a 500 meter plan or something, and something's happened, just because you miss a day doesn't mean it's the end. It either means you just missed a day, or you just go back to day one. You just, much like the popular phrase, you just take it one day at a time, baby. I don't think AA add the baby onto that part, but anyway. So yes, I think for me right now anyway, it's more about food than anything else, and it's snacking. I can't get out of the habit of snacking right now. I am doing the 16-8 intermittent fasting thing, but when it comes to the afternoon, when I'm in my eating window, I just can't stop snacking. I'm not too sure why. I think tomorrow I'm going to really up my water intake, because because there's always a chance, and here's where I sound like your dad again, because this is what I say to my kids all the time when they're like, I'm hungry. I say, oh, it could be thirst, because sometimes hunger is thirst in disguise. So I'll say this to the kids and then not actually listen to it myself. But, so yeah, so that's my plan, is just to go back to drinking a glass of water on the hour, every hour, from 8 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. It's not a big glass. It doesn't have to be if you're having, what's that, 13 glasses of water throughout the day. Say I just have half a pint, which is what? Hang on, what's that in mils? What's a pint? 600 mils or something? So say 300 mils of water. If I have that every hour, then that'll be all right. I'm not talking about chugging down half a litre of water, and then just make sure that there's electrolytes in some of them, so you don't get that problem where you, I mean, I wouldn't be at risk anyway, but there is an issue if you drink way too much water of osmosis, where it starts to pull electrolyte salts out of your system because of the amount of water in you. That's usually like marathon runners who are chugging down way too much in a short period of time. I'm talking about like what, 4 litres over 13 hours. Anyway, what did I say? Okay. Although handily, trust me, this sounds like this is a setup in a cell, but it's not. But handily, one of the last additions that I made to the RowAlong app was to add a water reminder. So under the habit flow tab, you can set a reminder to go off at whatever period you want that plays a pouring water noise to remind you that it's time to have some water. So I will make sure to set that in my app. Unfortunately, it's part of the locked features on the app. So if you want it, then I'm afraid it'll cost you $5.99 for a year. It's all right, isn't it? Trying to work on how to make it a bit more of a rewarding tracker as well. Got an idea, might do that. Although today's work on the app is, I got feedback from someone, so one of the features is a stroke ratio timer. So you put in the stroke rate you want to row at and the ratio you want your stroke to be at. Usually, like at 20 strokes a minute, it's 1 second drive, 2 seconds recovery. So that's 1 to 2 ratio. But you can change. You can make it 1 to 1, because obviously when you get up to 30 strokes a minute, it's closer to 1 second drive, 1 second recovery. Anyway,
had some feedback from people saying, although they like the idea of the timer, the fact that all it is right now is a animated line that says, so it's like a blue line that goes drive. It goes across the screen when you're meant to drive. And then it goes yellow, I think, for the release, which is when the hands come away and your body rocks forward. And then it goes green for slide, which I think means that there is no room for interpretation. It's clear, it's there for when you should drive, when you should release, and when you should slide. However, I've had a few people get in touch and say, although they like the stroke rate timer and it's really useful, they would rather that it was like a animated rower that they could see on the screen and follow. My concern about that is, well, I don't know if you were here for the start of this video, but I was talking about how hard it is to get across to people to lock in that release first, lock and then slide. So arms away, rock, slide. Nothing should, I'm going to watch myself on screen. Once I get into position with arms, body rock, nothing really changes. I think I've got an odd shoulder thing going on right now, but I'm locked in. There's no more forward lean going on. And that's because of the release being separate from the slide. I mean, the overlap, obviously, but it's not like I'm going like this. Can you see how everything's coming together to the front? The arms going away, the forwards rock and the slide all happening at the same time, which is exhausting. Call it the fact I'm not trained for a week, or just, it's incredible how tiring that is. But it's because I'm not using my body's momentum to recover when I do that. So when I go like this, it's like I'm now really using my core to pull myself forwards. Oh, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And also going slower for more. So that was more tiring. And I was going slower. Why would anyone do that? Anyway, so that's my concern. But just because I have my concerns doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So once I'm finished with today's row, I'm going to film me rowing at 20 strokes a minute with as good a technique as I can muster, and then put that into a dot plotter and hopefully turn it into an animation that I can then control in the app in terms of ratio and stuff. We'll see. It might completely fall on its head, but the important part is that I then give people the option to choose what they see on screen. Do they see the line, or do they see the animation, or do they see both? So yeah, I mean, one of the fun challenges of designing this app is thinking of new things to put into it. I mean, in the end, there's always a chance that I'm packing so much in there that people become snowblind to what features to use. But really, it's free, so you can access the RowAlong videos on YouTube, and they're kind of grouped in a much more user-friendly way than YouTube does it. So that's free. As is the duck game, which, as much as I keep on saying, hey, this is something to play on the bus to pass the time, we all know that by on the bus, I mean on the toilet. If you're the kind of person that takes your phone into the toilet, of course. Constantly shouting at the kids for doing that. But I mean, like, even when they're going in, brushing their teeth and things, they've got their phone with them. I'm like, come on. Surely you can spend 2 minutes just brushing your teeth. You don't have to be watching TikTok videos or... But apparently I'm wrong. Anyway, so that's today's app work. Kind of pleased with how it's come out. I think it's a nice companion piece to the book. And I mean, I think the Android version has had a few hundred downloads so far. And I'm not really promoting it apart from talking about it in these rows. So anyway, I'm just hoping that there's something in there for everybody, whether it's the stroke rate timer or the quicker access to videos or the habit trackers, the weights tracker, the journal, even the calculators. Hopefully there's something for everybody. And at $5.99, everyone goes, ah, that's worth it. That's worth it. So, tech is all very good. An app is all very good. But it always has to be back to how you're rowing. The best app in the world isn't going to help you get fitter if you're not actually rowing and rowing kind of, I hasten to use the word properly, but let's say effectively. Because a lot of the times it comes down to what you're trying to get out of it. And often, and I find this with the CrossFit world, I come along and talk technique about pushing with the legs and hanging off the handle and stuff. And all the CrossFit guys and girls try doing what I say, end up rowing slower because they're used to just yanking on the handle with their upper body. And then they go, this RowAlong guy has no idea what he's on about. Because all they want is the quick fix. So same with the High Rocks people. In fact, right before we started, I was messaging Andrew back and forth, telling him that no way am I sprinting, I've got a cold. But he was saying how he read a post from a High Rocks coach saying that the ideal stroke rate for the 1K was it 32 to 36? Now, if you're doing a 1K time trial, possibly. I mean, When I got the British record and the world record for a very brief amount of time for the 1K, I was at 38 strokes a minute, but I was putting everything into that 1K. It wasn't within a high rocks. So the 32 to 36 isn't really good advice. However, there are people on the high rocks floor who just don't know how to row. They don't use their legs, and they are all just upper body. And so for them, 32 to 36 is the way to get speed up, because they're not using the legs. And in fact, there was somebody on the RowAlong group who posted, was it a 10K? I think it was a 10K, that they did 2 minutes pace-ish at 37 strokes a minute. Now, that's super high stroke rate for 40 minutes. But right now, that's how they row. And they're happy rowing that way. So the question is, do I go in like a bull in a china shop and say, you really should slow down your stroke rate and add power? The key word there being should. That's the issue, because this person's happy rowing a 40-minute 10K at 37 strokes a minute. Who am I to say they should change anything? But if I frame it as you'll get a much better all-over workout if you're powering with your legs as well as using your back and your arms. So if fitness is the goal, then using the whole body is much better. And if speed is the goal, then, I mean, for a 10K, 37 strokes a minute, I figure they could probably squeeze down to like 158, 157 maybe. But they're going to hit terminal velocity soon for what they can manage at that kind of stroke rate without using their legs. So I then sell them on that and say, if you want to get faster, use your legs more. So what to do is slow down the rate even by 10, get down to 27 and push with the legs, and you'll find once you get used to it that the strength in your body will make you go faster than those 10 strokes a minute would. And when you eventually everything falls into place, that's a strange sentence, but you get what I mean, then they can row with that better power using their legs and increase the stroke rate, and suddenly they're rowing that 10K at 150 pace, say. So that's where technique is about patience, about understanding what people want, why they're rowing the way they are, whether they have any desire to change, which, let's face it, if someone doesn't want to change, they're not gonna. And then you have to sell them on the benefits. Whoa. Oh. What did I manage? 6.84. That'll do. There's a reintroduction back to rowing. What's my finish heart rate actually? 132, so it's not bad for the fact I've been away for a week. Average, in fact, where's my report? Average 211, yeah, I mean, I was hoping, I was kind of figuring I'd be doing this at 215, so that's quite happy with that. You can see everything's cadence every now and then. That must be where I start to demonstrate the bad technique. Average heart rate, 114. It's interesting. Is that while we were sitting there? No, I wonder why it was so low and then spiked up. That must be a heart rate monitor issue. So for whatever reason it took, was that like 4 minutes? Did it say the time was? No. Yeah, 4.5 minutes for it to eventually just kind of go, oh yeah, you're doing something. I mean, this is why, I mean, data's great, but if you live and die by data, it's a problem. Right, I could end now before anybody says anything, but let's just give it a second. I have a drink of coffee because my throat is so dry and sore. I think I was snoring last night. I woke up to find Julie had moved into the spare room. So, that kind of, Rory, can you, oh, hang on, I always get this wrong. Kenyali. Oh, you told me before, Kenyali, that I don't combine the ends, do I? It's not Kenyali. Oh, whatever. Sorry, Rory. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the workout, if not my butchering of your second name. I should write this stuff, because like every now and then I'll get people's names wrong, and they tell me how to pronounce it, and then I completely forget. The only one I can remember is this Munira from Kuala Lumpur. She drilled it into me that it's Munira, so I could get hers right. Hey, it's Takeo. Hey, good to see you. I wasn't too sure if you'd be here. Thank you for joining. Exa went Doolally. Oh no. Says I rode 7.71k. I nearly lapped you twice. Oh dear. I'm glad you find me amusing, Rory. Yeah, well done, John. I mean, that's impressive. Says you rode 7.7. Yeah, well, 7.7 is probably, would that be, you'd be rowing what, round about 150, say 5, 6 pace to it's not 7.7's. What did I say? I was 6.8. Yeah. So I mean, unless you were actually seeing like 230 on your screen the whole time, it's not out of the realms of. Anyway, right, Takeo was rowing along with you all the way. Yeah. See, I didn't know that because I didn't have the names up. Should have seen that, and I could have said hello. Thanks for screen time and pace target. Oh, it's my pleasure. Listen, I've said before, if nothing else, I'm here just to kind of keep you engaged. I won't even say motivated or entertained, I'll just say engaged. If you can sit down for this half-hour row, whether it's in the morning on Sunday or the evening, which will be next week's one, and you row for half an hour and you kind of, between the distraction of Exa, which is lovely to look at, and then like listening to my rants, I mean, I wouldn't come back and listen to my rants. I certainly don't. Hang on, Paolo Manganelli. Oh, there we go. Is that a nice Italian name? Manganelli? Yeah. Thank you, John. First time for me on this event, and it was good fun. Great, good. Ed Farr, yay. Cheers, John. Pronounced Kennelly. Oh, sounds like a fellow countryman. So it's Kennelly. So basically, that A is sitting in your surname for no good reason. Like I was saying to Jamie the other day. I mean, as a dad, there's very many jokes. In fact, I have two jokes that I will share with you. I can't remember. Did I share this one last week? I have to apologise if I did. I have two jokes I want to share with you. First one, it's not a joke. I was saying to Jamie, my eldest, because I took her. I drove her up to Aberdeen on Tuesday because she was taking part in the Scottish National Age Group Swimming Championship things, where she got PB for her long course 200, and then when she split it down into her splits, she got PB on her 50, her 100, and the full 200. So well done, Jamie, my amazing daughter. She's just, I was almost actually, I welled up watching her swim. Hey, I got Paolo's name right at least. Phew. Okay. Sorry. I was watching her swim, and as she started to go, and I just saw this powerful kind of young woman, because she's 15, just cutting a line through the water, and I was like, especially because I'm not that good a swimmer, so to see her do something that she is miles ahead of my abilities to be able to do something, it's just incredible. I mean, listen, all of you that have parents out there that have like kind of older children, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm on about here, and you're kind of like, yeah, I know that. But anyway, so I drove up to Aberdeen, fantastic, great time. And how often do you get a chance to just sit? She didn't have her AirPods in or anything. We just sat in the car. Radio was on, but we're just kind of every now and then talking about music. But the whole 2.5 hours up, 2.5 hours down, we just talked. And I mean,
I can't think of the last time I just sat and had a 2.5-hour conversation with her. I'm sure I've had this. I was talking to someone about this because I was talking about how I love my trips to when we drive down to Manchester. So apologies if that's a repeat. Anyway, sorry. And what I said to her, because we're in a traffic queue, and I said to her, isn't it funny how the word queue is just the letter Q with a whole bunch of vowels after it? It is. And the other one, this is going to set off my phone, is this one I saw, and I can't remember where I saw it on the internet, but it made me laugh, so I'm going to repeat it. And again, this may be for only people of a certain age group. Instead of saying Siri to my phone, I said Shirley, and I locked it in airplane mode. Now, some of you will get that joke. Some of you won't get that joke. Answers on the postcard. I swim like a fag into the urinal. Oh, yeah. Oh, that message was held for review. Oh, it's because it's, see, cigarettes are, so the end of a cigarette is known as a, but I understand why, oh dear. See, John, it's a different generation, isn't it? I'll just leave that as unreviewed and whatever, but yeah. I apologise to everyone for passing, and PM5 says I rode 220 pace and did about 6:33. Oh, that's interesting. Right, listen, I'm going to go because I have to film this thing of me rowing for the app, so I'm going to do that. And then I've got Tesco Shop, obviously, that always comes at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so that's me done. So next week, 5 o'clock in the evening, hopefully I will be sounding less like I've got cotton wool stuffed in my face. Hopefully I'll be a little bit stronger. Hopefully next week I'll be like, yay, everything's going well, rather than it being like, oh, Monday was a bad day for the program. I'm hoping. I mean, the next series, so far, it's looking really good. So, I mean, I would say that, I'm editing it. So hopefully when the commissioners and stuff watch it, they'll be like, yeah, you're getting there, just need to do this, this, and this. It's always Jeopardy. People always in TV, they always want Jeopardy. Where's the Jeopardy? Ooh, where's the Jeopardy? Ooh, people will only continue watching if there's Jeopardy. Would you? Oh. So, next week, 5 o'clock, make sure and keep an eye on the Xer thing for clicking participate and all that kind of stuff. Have a fantastic week. Look after yourselves. Have something to eat and shower and drink and all that kind of stuff. Have a lovely week doing whatever you do. If you're still in the Easter holidays with the kids, do something fun. And make sure to tell someone you love them. I'm really kind of in on that. Tell someone, even if it's the dog, tell someone you love them. Just to like give them a hug and kind of say, I love you. I like spending time with you. There we go. Fairchild gets it. And then so does Ed Farr. There we go. Right. Good. At least 2 of you got it. That's all that matters. If you, oh, by the way, last thing to say then, if you haven't already watched the trailer for, I don't want to do it, would it be spoiling it? I don't know if this would be spoiling it. Oh, because, no, yeah. If you haven't already watched the trailer for the new Naked Gun film, go and watch it because it's very funny. It's only like 30 seconds, 45 seconds long. It's a teaser trailer, but it's hilarious. So if you like that kind of world, then you'll like this one. So I am done. I'm going off. I really need to get a haircut at one point today. You can't quite see it, but my hair is ridiculous and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully next week I'll be, I'll have there may not be less of me, but there'll be less hair. So have a great week. Look after yourselves. I'm going to go into here and hit stop and all that kind of stuff so that I'm actually going to go. So thank you for joining me again for another Sunday. Look, it's almost summer. It's lovely outside. So yeah, have a great week. Look after yourselves. Tell someone you love them. Until next week. Bye-bye.